Okay, welcome everyone. Lovely to see you and to meet you. Hello, Virle, yes, Virle. Okay, Richard, hi Richard, Holly. Hello, Sarah, Holger, and John. Just a couple of words that because of newcomers, the first part of this meeting will be a guided meditation, and then you're welcome to pose whatever questions you have, anything that you'd like to discuss. And also the meeting is recorded and Holger will be posting it on YouTube following a day or so. So just sit comfortably and just for this meeting, you can let everything be as it is. No need to solve any problems that you may need to solve. You can solve them later on, deal with issues. But for now, welcome yourself, welcome your experience freshly. Whatever thoughts may appear, bodily sensations, to simply remain as you are, as presence. Not trying to improve or change your experience. So it's a sort of a relaxation, sinking into being. No effort is required or needed to simply be. Awareness is effortless. There is peace and equanimity as awareness. there is a freshness and immediacy to this experience. It's not a story that's unfolding in time. It's pure presence. And you are this presence. An image may appear, a thought, a sensation may appear, bodily sensation. You are the aware presence which perceives. The thought that you perceive, or the sensation that you perceive, may have a certain quality, a certain duration, a certain coloring. But the awareness that the reality which perceives has no shape, no size, and no coloring. Which we refer to as I. That which is perceived via the instrument of the body-mind is limited, defined by the qualities of the body-mind. But that which you are, that which is, that which perceives, is beyond the body-mind instrument. Which I refer to as consciousness or awareness. Like the wide open sky, the wide open sky may appear blue from the perspective of the human visual cortex. But in fact, the infinite sky has no color. From a different instrument, like a gamma ray instrument or a X-ray instrument, perception of the wide open sky is not blue, it's a bunch of X-rays and gamma rays. But the wide open sky is not made out of gamma rays or X-rays. Similarly, we perceive the world, the body and the mind via the world-body-mind instrument, via the body-mind instrument. Which defines that which is perceived. Perceive colors, but a color blind visual cortex does not perceive color or perceives colors differently. We perceive thoughts which are firing of neurons within the brain, interacting with the nervous system that's flowing through the body and interacting with the world, temperature surrounding the body, the events surrounding the body. They're very specific perceptions that are specific to this particular moment. The thought that arises in this moment is the dance of the current dance of the world and the body and the mind in this moment. Which is constantly changing. But that which does not change in your experience is awareness. Whichever thought you're perceiving, irrespective of the thought that is perceived, awareness remains transparent, colorless, shapeless, formless. That which does not change in our experience is awareness, awareness, which we refer to as reality. That which perceives. This reality is not female or male. It's not a woman, a man, a son, a daughter. That which is perceived may be male, female, tall, short, green, yellow, red. But that which perceives is neither blue nor red, neither tall nor short, neither male nor female. It's an important understanding about yourself, your true self. But when you believe yourself to be a woman, a man, a person, you have identified yourself with a machine, with a mechanism, with an instrument. You've identified yourself with a body-mind instrument. And this identification limits your horizon. and affects your sense of freedom and love and beauty, confines you to the impression of mortality. You're no longer in this borderless awareness, and rather you have somehow adopted the belief that you're born and you're bound to die via your identification with the body. None of which is true. Although the body is mortal, you are not. So if you want to explore any questions, anything that you would like to discuss, whatever it is that you're looking at in your life this moment, or to interest you, please make sure you unmute yourself and any questions. Hello, Virle. Yes.
Hello, thank you for this opportunity to join the session. I have difficulties in understanding what you mean by perceiving without the senses.
Without the
senses, without seeing a color, without hearing a sound.
Yes. Well, there are two ways of looking at perception, two aspects to perception. There is the phenomenal perception, which is via the senses. So right now you hear these words. There is a sense of hearing. You perceive the screen via the senses. It's depending on the quality of the senses. You may have very good hearing, or you may require some hearing aid. But there is an instrument, and there are the senses. So for phenomenal perception, the senses are required. For example, to perceive a thought, there is a certain activity in the brain that goes hand in hand with the thought. So in a way, the perception, the phenomenal perception, and the apparatus, the sensor, this organism, are coexistent. When there is a thought, when there's a sound that arises, the instrument is right there. There is no sound without the oculary or the auditory instrument. So the sound and the auditory instrument are co-arising. They co-arise. But that which hears the sound is not the ear. It's not the auditory senses. The mechanism, the organism, the instrument is not that which perceives. A good example of that is when you use a your glasses to perceive better. It is not the glasses that perceive, or like when you use a binocular to perceive the birds that are in the forest. It's not the binoculars which perceive. The binoculars are the instrument, but that which perceive is not the instrument. Yes, you follow? Yes. Now, so there is another aspect to perception, which is not via the senses. But I don't refer to it. I don't use the term perception. I use the term apperception, which is a term that was used by various teachers, including John Klein. So apperception is a perception that is non-phenomenal. For example, when you ask yourself the question, am I? You don't go to memory, you don't go to the senses, you don't go to the feeling, you don't go to a thought, you don't go to an image, you don't go to a memory, because you're not going to an object. When you ask yourself the question, am I? The answer is, yes, I am. Or am I aware, for example? Yes, I'm aware. So this would be an example of an apperception, meaning a perception, or sometimes we use the word a knowingness, which does not have an object. So just to sum it up, phenomenal perceptions, human phenomenal perceptions are via the senses, and non-phenomenal perceptions, which sometimes I call them noumenal perceptions, are direct apperceptions. They do not go via the senses.
Thank you. Isn't this knowingness the same as awareness?
Yes, knowingness and awareness. So there is objective awareness, like I perceive the oak tree in the yard, I perceive a bird landing on the branch. That would be a phenomenal awareness with an object. And there is awareness without an object. I'm aware that I'm aware. So when you are, for example, when you are daydreaming, and suddenly, so you're perceiving a daydream, whatever. And then you realize, oh, I'm daydreaming. There's a difference between, in one case, you are aware of a dream, and the other case, you're aware that you're dreaming. So you're aware not of an object, but of the fact of dreaming. So that would be an awareness being aware of itself, as opposed to awareness being aware of an object. Now, the key thing to understand is that awareness doesn't depend on an object. We're aware of objects, we're aware of sounds, sights, sensations, feelings, memories. But awareness is not the result, is not the product of a thought, or a product of a feeling, or a product of a sensation.
Thank you, that's nicely explained. And if I may add something, is then self-awareness always is the result of a thought?
Well, it depends what you mean by the self. If by the self you mean the body or the mind, in order to be aware of the body, you need to perceive a sensation. For example, the sensation of your feet on the ground, or the sensation of a hunger, or the sensation of tiredness. So then you could say, well, self-awareness, meaning awareness of the body, requires a sensation. Or if you refer to the self as an image, an idea, or a person is a concept. When you refer to the self as a concept or as an image, then yes, self-awareness would be perceiving a thought or perceiving a memory or perceiving an image of yourself when you were 10 years old, or of your mom or whatever. But the self, I don't usually use the term self too much, but that's okay, because there is a distinction sometimes people make between self written with a capital S and the small self, meaning what I believe myself to be. So self-awareness, the self refers to I. You agree? I am, right? So the self is the experience of I am. So right now, you are, right? Yeah, you are, right? If I ask you, are you right now, would you answer yes or? Yes. So right now, there is an experience of I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yes. So the experience of I am is different from the experience I am a woman, or I am 25 years old, or I live in Massachusetts, whatever. Right? The experience of I am is just I am. So if you go to the experience of I am, you cannot go to the experience of I am via a memory or via a feeling or via a thought. You go directly to it. So the experience of I am refers directly to itself. It doesn't refer to a thought or to a memory. So the self, meaning the I am, is directly known. It's known directly as I am. So the self-knowledge is not a story about, oh, now I know what I am this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Self-knowledge is always in the moment, in this moment. And in this moment, you know yourself as whatever it is that perceives right now, whatever it is. We call it consciousness, awareness. It doesn't matter the word, but there is a reality to your experience right now, right? That reality is the I am. That reality is not the sound of my words, because when I'm silent, what, that reality disappeared? It's when there is hearing or when there is silence, the I am remains, right? So the self, this I am, is not the result of hearing or the result of perceiving.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is our experience 24/7. But it's not a phenomenal experience. Like, for example, having dinner. Having dinner is a phenomenal experience, or going for a walk. going for a walk is a phenomenal experience. Listening to music, it's a phenomenal experience. But being presence, the I am, doesn't have a beginning and an ending. It's not a phenomenal experience.
Yeah. And I can call that awareness. I do not need to call that self-awareness. Awareness is enough.
Yes.
The knowledge I am.
Yes, by the awareness, by the very fact that it is awareness, it is self-aware, because that's what it is. It's the substance of awareness is awareness. So therefore, it's obviously self-aware. It's aware that it is aware. So, and you ask yourself, am I aware that I am aware? The answer is yes. Yes, I am aware that I'm aware. So awareness is aware that it is aware. So the I, when we say I, we're referring to awareness. See? We're not referring to a thought, we're not referring to a memory, we're not referring to a 15-year-old body or 20-year-old body, we're not referring to our family. By I, it's always I awareness, experientially, right? Experientially. Right? Experientially. Then sometimes we imagine that that awareness is a woman or a man, or to say, oh, awareness is born. So we say, okay, awareness is born in 1979, 1980, whatever. It's a confusion because we're talking about the body, you know. We're not. So sometimes there is identification, you know, identification of awareness with an object, you know. So then, when we say I, we're saying I, the body, or I, the teacher, whatever we say, you know. But when we come to the nowness, when we come to the nowness, to presence, to our actual experience, which is now, I is the reality which is the reality of this experience. That you could say that which perceives, the reality which perceives and which knows itself. You know, I know I am. Awareness, you say. Because we are so used to operate via the senses, we believe that the reality is sensory, because we don't perceive awareness as an object. We overlook awareness, overlook it.
Thank you.
And the sense of lack and the angst that we experience in our life is when we go from awareness and we identify with an object. Then we experience some sense of lack, because all objects, in time, they are going to they have a beginning and an ending, you say. Anyways, that's it's an important a subtle shift from I am this person, that, to just being, just amness. It's very, it has a deep impact because it's aligned with truth. It's an alignment with truth. You see?
And can this awareness be creative?
Absolutely. Extremely. Oh yeah.
How then?
Like right now, there was these words that just, can awareness be creative? That's creativity itself.
But I do not produce words. You produce words.
No, we perceive a thought, let's say, okay, perceive a thought. The thought is, can awareness be creative? In other words, a thought appears. And then the thought gets, via the body-mind instrument, gets a sound. And then I hear you say, can awareness be creative? So thought appears.
Okay.
We perceive the thought and then we decide to verbalize the thought. All of that is creativity. All of that is creativity. So yes, the answer is yes to your question. Absolutely. It loves creation. Awareness, consciousness loves creation. But the important thing to understand is that there is no separate person or a separate doer or a separate power who is manufacturing these thoughts and choosing these thoughts. In fact, these thoughts, you could say that the thought is awareness creative. You could say that this thought cannot be separated from the totality. It cannot be separated from gravity. It cannot be separated from density. It cannot be separated from the cosmic realm. It cannot be separated from the temperature of the body. The temperature of the body is connected to the lining of the stars. In other words, there is no closed system. There is no closed system in the cosmos. The cosmos, including the body, including the heartbeat, including temperature, the cosmos and the body and the world are not separate. There isn't like a body and the world that there is a very intimate interaction. I mean, we don't see it with our eyes, of course, because the human eyes are a very limited instrument, but now we understand that there isn't a closed system. The body, it's not a closed system, it's an open system. So if you agree with that, if you understand that, then you may be open to the understanding that the thought itself is also a cosmic event. It is not an event that is manufactured by somebody. It's a cosmic event. So we perceive the thought. Like, for example, look out the window, you perceive a cloud, yes? In the same way, you perceive a cloud, or you perceive the singing of the birds, in the garden. You also perceive the thought. It's all a cosmic event. And similarly, the thought that says the verbalization of the thought is awareness creative. That's also a cosmic event. Everything is a cosmic event.
Also personal desires. If I want something,
Yes.
let's say, I want a new car. That's something very personal.
Yes, it's interesting. That's a very interesting question. So the answer is yes, including I want this car, or I want a better car than my neighbor, for example. That also is impersonal, but I need to add the following. Let's say that you need a car because where you live, you don't live in the city, there isn't the metro, there aren't the buses, there isn't bicycles. So you live in a place where you need the car to go to shopping, to go to the work, to visit your friend, visit your family. So there is a necessity. There's a necessity. And this necessity is just because of the situation in which you are in. And the situation you are in is a cosmic event. All your thoughts, all your life, everything that's happening has led you to this moment. You live in this village or this town, and you need a car. So the thought arises to you, gee, you should look for a car. That thought that arises to you is a cosmic event. And then you look around, you find a car, blah, 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 you get the car, you have the car. Now you can go to the village, you can go to the shopping, you can go to the work, etc. So yes, this is a cosmic impersonal event. Now, let's say now you have a car and you see your neighbor has a nicer car. And you feel, oh, they're not better than me. I am good too, you know. They have a better car than me. That's unacceptable. I'm going to get a better car than the car that they have, right? I mean, that can happen. So I want a better car than them. So also, that is a cosmic event. But this cosmic event has an assumption in it, which is also a cosmic assumption. The assumption is that a better car is going to make you better. A better car is going to make you happier or a better person or more likable. See? So that assumption is a false assumption, because this assumption assumes that you are not likable as awareness, that you are likable as a woman with a beautiful car. It's an assumption that you are a woman that with a better car, you will be more likable. You're a woman, you're likable now, but if you have a better car, you will be even more popular, more likable. So the assumption is that you are a woman. I am a person. I am a person. And I need to have a better car, then I'll be a better person. See? So that belief is a filter. So it's a cosmic filter. But on this side, on this side of the cosmic filter, before the cosmic filter, everything is free and happy. On the other side of the cosmic filter, I need to have this better car. And then you go out and you buy a better car. And everybody likes you for 6 months. And then somebody else buys a better car in another house. And now you are no longer so likable, because now you have to do something else, find a maybe better partner, somebody who's, etc. You follow? So coming back to your question, yes, there are no actual personal events or personal thoughts or personal decisions, because in fact, there is no real person. What you are is this reality that perceives right now is awareness. It's not a female awareness, right? It's not a 30-year-old awareness. No, it's just awareness, pure awareness. Yes, awareness. That's the reality of I awareness. You see, right? So that's the reality of your experience. Now, personal aspect of the personal experience is the belief that I am a person, that I consciousness is personal, is limited, is dependent on the body. It's a nice consciousness when the body dies, etc. So on one side, it is impersonal. On the other side, it is personal. But everything is cosmic.
So if there are no other questions, can I ask another question?
Yes. Please.
So I heard Francis say that all impersonal desires are fulfilled, but that would mean all desires, everything that we really need, only things that we really need, only those desires will be fulfilled.
Well,
or is this wrong?
Yes, Vivi. So look at it this way. Personal desires are desires that are based on the belief that I, consciousness, awareness, reality is a mortal body, mind, a female body, mind, or whatever, which is obviously not true. Awareness is not a body, mind. So there is, in fact, no person, right? So if there is no person, in fact, no reality to a person, then what reality is there to personal desires? Nothing. I mean, if Santa Claus is not real, then all Santa Claus's dreams, children, life is not real. It's a package deal, yes?
Yes, but in this world, my body is real, so I need clothes, and I wish to have the choice in the morning,
yes,
between different colors. Let's say I don't really need it,
yes,
and my body is in this world. My body is real.
Yes. Your body is real as a body. It's not real as it's. Your body is real as something that is appearing to you, and that is basically you are tending to it, like you perceive a need to eat, and you choose to eat healthy food. Why do you choose to eat healthy food? Because thoughts have appeared to you and events have appeared to you about making a distinction between healthy food and unhealthy food, and you chose healthy food. The you is not the body. You is consciousness, awareness. It's all the play of consciousness. So yes, you choose to dress in a certain way. I want to dress more colorful this morning. So that's a Francis often speaks about that as like, that's the play or the celebration or the enjoyment of life. This is the creative aspect of life. In that, there is no angst. There is no worry or trouble. It's different from, oh, I'm going to wear this red dress, for example, and oh my God, yesterday I wore the blue dress. People didn't make me enough compliments. I need to get compliments. So today I'm going to wear the red dress. It's very different because that's no longer celebratory. It's no longer playful because now you want to get the compliment. So you say, red, the red one will get me the compliment. So you are wearing the dress, but inside you're, Jesus, I mean, nobody gave me a compliment yet. Oh, somebody complimented me. Now I'm happy. You see, it's not, you're not celebrating, you're not happy, you're not free. There is a concern. So there are choices that we make from the belief that I am a limited personal and I need something. I'm looking for something in order to be happy. It's different from I'm looking for something because I like healthy food. So I'm looking for a restaurant that serves healthy food, and 90% they serve junk. So I have to look. That's not, it has no sense of lack in it. That is intelligent because you understand that this body responds better, feels better, sleeps better, functions better if it is nourished in appropriate manner. So about the desire, it depends what the source of the desire is. If the source of the desire is a sense of lack or a person, what you imagine yourself to be, you have to take a look because you can sense within yourself, you can sense it. If you're careful, you can sense the unhappiness in this desire. And if you sense unhappiness in a certain desire, you don't need to continue it. You can stop, you can pause. You can say, okay, let me take a look here. What am I assuming myself to be? So I'm assuming myself to be somebody in time and space, a person in a cocoon, trying to get happiness, trying to get something, so then you have an understanding, you see. When you stop and you take a look, then there's the understanding, you see. And the understanding has a healing, has a corrective aspect to it.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Very, very nice.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much
Okay.
for the explanation.
Yes. Any questions? Hello, Holger.
I also want a new car.
What did you say? What?
I also want a new car.
Okay. Soon we're gonna open a car dealership. But we need a little bit more than two,
Thank you, Magdi.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Yes, Holger.
Earlier this morning, I was in a Zoom meeting with friends, and normally it's always very warm, and we speak about spiritual spirituality related things. But today it went into chit chat, and I felt suddenly so lonely in this. And it was just interesting to see what's the difference here between, I don't know. Just interesting.
Well, I mean, chit chat is usually like a regurgitation, like a repetition of old stuff. There isn't like a freshness and a spontaneity in chit chat. I mean, there are people who love that, like People magazine, whatever you call that. And people who really love that. I'm like you. I don't care too much, for as long as it doesn't last too long. It's just sometimes we meet somebody and we just say a few words. It's there are some people who they can't stand the silence. It's like you have to keep filling it up. It's as if it's threatening, in some way, threatening to what? It can only be to image, some image thing that. So, but the more you stay in presence, sometimes it's silence. But the silence is full. It's not an empty silence. It's full of peace, of love. And so, then we speak from the silence. We don't know what we are saying, but it's a fresh. Like Vivi was asking about creativity. It's creativity. It's not a repeating. It's not coming from knowledge. And the worst knowledge is about, I know what I am. I am this, that, whatever. It's subtle. Often we're not in touch with all our beliefs about ourselves. It's operating, but like below the radar, but it's still operating. And so we, in chit chat, we're trying to distract ourselves from the unhappiness, from the core void, the core sense of non-fulfillment. In a way, it's like it's as if it's like a defense mechanism to protect your illusory sense of me. You see, it's just like a distraction, like you say something and I sort of I don't want to hear, just want to sort of respond, respond. There is a level behind the chat that doesn't want to, it's not open. So the chit chat is like layers of you can't get to me, but you can play the chit chat game, you say, but you cannot get to me. But what I really want is get to you, because getting to you is getting to myself. Is how I know myself as you. As I know myself as yourself, I'm happy. So happy. So chit chat could be mistaken protection from happiness. You are the castle of happiness, but the doors are closed. Here, you can come to my gate and you can sit outside the gate and chit chat, but I'm not going to open the gates for you. So in the meetings, I don't know. I was in meetings. I remember years ago. Was this meet once a month, and it was a meeting about into Krishnamurti's. It was a dialogue group, Krishnamurti dialogue group, but there was some chit chat. And then there was also sharing the emotions. There was the feeling, feeling for each other. Oh, feeling for each other. Somehow I also felt that that's also misses the mark. It misses the mark because it had to do with making each other feel good and feel safe. I don't know. Yeah, it's a little different from your question, but somehow it also sometimes meetings can go into being about feelings.
Yeah, the word freshness. I mean, the aliveness wasn't there. It was stale. But I also like myself. I mean, chit chat, it's beautiful. It's playful. I don't know what it was. It was just somehow maybe I had for a moment the idea, well, there's something wrong with me, or because I don't know really. I just mentioned it. Not a big deal.
Yeah. Maybe I also made a big deal out of it. If we enjoy chit chat, we chit chat. I'm not big on that, but I can't do that for too long. I just noticed that about this particular organism. But yeah, we enjoy chit chat. And sometimes I found myself with some people who like to chit chat slightly more than I care to. And sometimes I just sort of say, I just sort of go along, I listen. Sometimes people want to be listened to. At least that's my experience. So obviously I say, okay, fine, I can listen to you. And you listen, and if you're really listening, it's okay, when you can't or don't want to listen anymore, then you change the topic, or you leave. You get up and leave.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, Patrick. Did Patrick raise his hand?
Hi, Magdi, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello, Patrick. Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Hi. I had an insight that I wanted to ask you about. Whenever we're interpreting the objective world, there's always a slight delay. right? There's like the time it takes for your mind to interpret. There's the time for the light to reach your eyes and your eyes. But what this insight had to do with is when you are completely present in the now, there's no delay. So it's almost like when the thought arises, you see it happening. And if you're very present, it almost seems like you can see it as for what it is, just an occurrence.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, Patrick. In fact, in reality, let's say, in fact, time is, or the delay, is an impression, because our experience is never not full and complete in the moment. Now, the mind's narrative, the narrative of the mind about our experience is something else. Okay, we can have many narratives. I'm talking about that, in fact, our experience is never not full and complete in the moment. And fullness and completeness in the moment means there's no time. It's all delivered. The whole shebang is delivered, full delivery, boom. There is no, back order. There isn't a back order. The whole order, boom, is delivered moment by moment. Now the back order, it's missing one item, as a narrative. So the narrative about our experience is not our experience. So, in fact, in our experience, in the reality of our experience, is a razor edge, the razor edge of experience. There is no narrative, there are no objects, there is no subject, there is no time. It's important to understand that and to invite yourself to the living understanding of that in this moment. So in this moment, there is no thought, there is no room for time. Now, time appears to you via thought, an image of a minute ago, or a certain thought and time, arises with the impression of time. Certain thoughts have the impression of time, and they have the impression of me in time, or things in time, or objects in time, which is fine. It's a painting on the screen. It's a narrative, and the reality of this narrative is not a narrative. But the narrative is a play. Like you get an inspiration and you write a book. The book is a verbalization of an inspiration. Yes. So, and it's fun. It's fun to write the book. It's enjoyable for people to read the book. It's fun to have a book club meetings to discuss what you wrote. It's a play. So there is the play. There is the play of the absolute. The absolute is not in time, but the play of the absolute is in time. Yes, is in time. So when you say that things take a time to reach you, that's in the play of in the narrative, in the play. Yes, things take time to reach you. But it's important to also have a living understanding, what do you say, an experiential understanding of your true being, which is that being is, and being is I and being is one and the same. Being is, and that is which I am. And being is not in time and space. It's not an object. There are no words for being. Sometimes we say reality, or we say consciousness, but that being is the reality of I. The reality of yourself is being. And in fact, the reality of all manifestation of the dance of the absolute is also being. So there is being at rest, which is consciousness, self-knowing, and being in motion or in activity or in play, which is the world, body, mind, and beyond. So not to confuse yourself to be a character in the narrative or an event in the narrative. It's okay to take a look at the narrative, to take a look at the play and say, well, the relationship between this and that, there are these relationships. But these relationships only exist in the play, in the narrative. They do not exist in being. So the insight is an insight about being. That being is, and I is being. I and being, I, awareness, and being and consciousness are one. They're not in time. They're not in time, meaning they're not non-phenomenal. And it's undeniable. The non-phenomenal reality of being is undeniable, because what could deny being? Only non-being could deny being. And non-being is not, only being is. So it's absolute. Right? So when you understand these words, because I know you're understanding them, you don't need to remember them. You don't need to remember them. It's very important. Let them go. Because the understanding is not just at the mind level, but beyond the mind. Understanding is at the level of understanding, which is not of the mind.
Well, what just came to mind when you were talking is that old saying that goes, a man cannot step into the same river twice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as soon as you decide to step into the river, by the time your foot goes into the river, it's already a different river than when you decided to. So there's something about phenomenal existence. And again, it just occurred to me this morning, so I haven't had time to fully flesh it out, but just that idea that when you are present, there is no delay. But when you get sucked back into the world of thinking and reacting, there's always that delay between perception and reaction and etc. So I just kind of hadn't fully thought this through before I asked you the question, but I just wanted to get your response to that.
Yes. So I think you said it well. In presence, in being, there is no time, no delay. And in thought, there is the impression of time. But it's okay, the impression of time is okay, but in our sharing, what matters is, are you assuming yourself to be somebody in time? Are you assuming yourself to be a person? Are you assuming yourself to be a man, a son? What are you? What are you? Are you identifying with a form, with an object, right? So yes, the impression of time, appears in thought, in the mind, which is fine. It takes 4 hours or 8 hours to get to San Francisco. Okay, fine. I mean, well, there is a certain dimension of time that is innocent, let's say, but it's more the me in time. So the me in time has in it the assumption that I am this person and I've been suffering this and this has been happening to me, and oh my God, when am I going to blah blah blah? It has an impression of there is I'm a me, I'm somebody. There's a cocoon, and that's the me in time. You see. And the more we have an understanding about consciousness, the more we find that life is spontaneous. There's a freshness, there is a creativity, there is a spontaneity, and not knowing, a joyful, playful. Like you go to the playground, you don't know who's in the playground and who you're going to play with, and what toys there are in the playground, and it's a bit like that, And you trust, because there's a thing about like, oh goodness, like what's going to happen to my life if I just don't worry about it, it's going to be okay. Life is going to be okay. It's going to be okay. There is the cosmic realm taking care of it, right? I mean, the whole cosmic realm is taking care of it, and your business is not to worry, not to identify and limit the infinity, limit the cosmos to your personal mind. As Francis often says, follow your enthusiasm. Do what you love. It's very hard. People listen that they say on one hand they say yes, on the other hand they say, well, what's going to happen to me if I do that? So it has to repeat it over and over, over and over.
Yes, for sure. And I find that there's different pointers along the way that help you to maintain the perspective of the observer rather than getting caught up into the separate thinking self. And for some reason, I feel like this delay thing that occurred to me is another one of those pointers to help me realize when I've stepped into the separate self again.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, very beautiful. Lovely to be with you all, Patrick, Vivi, Holger, Ron. Hi, Ron. Holly, John, Malcolm, Richard, and my sweet Tara. Nice to see you all. Okay. See you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Magdi.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Bye.
Thank you, Magdi.
Bye, Magdi. Thank you.